I want to thank Ted for the reading that he gave. And I want to thank, Keith that just ran off here somewhere, for what he said today. Thank you, Keith, for introducing my message. I appreciate that. All the support is appreciated. Greetings to everyone in the outreach program from YAIM, and greetings to everyone here in the name of Yahweh and Yeshua. How great it is to be back together, be in the congregation of the righteous. We heard somebody say that this morning. Isn't that great? It feels wonderful, and it feels good to have everyone back that was traveling. Like the family is all home, right? Everybody feel that way? Good. Well, we're going to have and do have some visitors, so I was told early in the office earlier this week that we were going to have visitors and that I was on the speaking schedule, surprise, surprise, and I said, well, it looks like we're going to have to all behave ourselves and play nice. And I said, well, I'll give a nice, smooth, round message that everybody will be happy about. And then the Sabbath came. I'm going to start out before I give you the title on this. In fact, I'll give you the title, The Fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit. And most of us know what that is and where it's written and what it talks about. But I'm going to start the message today by talking about something that I think will appeal to every one of us here, no matter where you're from. It'll appeal to every person, young and old, whoever it is. How would you like to be more popular? Okay, we're not in a popularity contest, especially with the faith that we have, because the world resents us. They don't understand what we believe. Sometimes we are even hated. He says, you will be hated for my name's sake. But how would you like to be personally more popular, more liked, more understood, more desired, and just have more people come to you and be ingratiated by you and you to others? How would you like to do that? Would that feel good to everyone here? I think it would. That we would feel more peace, we would feel more bonding, we would feel more love, more mercy, more goodness, and more of a connection in this word and this faith than maybe we had before. Could all of us benefit by that? I think we could. I see some heads wagging out there. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay. Boy, that's quiet. Where is he going with this? I want to start with going to 1 Corinthians. And I want you to get a hold of yourselves. I want you to not jump to conclusions, because we're going to cover things and talk about things we've talked about many, many, many times. So with Yahweh's help and Yahweh's Spirit, which we have, and myself help to do this, that we look within ourselves and see what can we do that's more pleasing to Yahweh, more comfortable for ourselves, and more pleasing to the people that are around us. And we're going to the love chapter. We've heard it many, many times. In fact, a lot of us probably can quote it almost word for word. We're not going to cover the whole chapter, just some key verses. Let's go to verse 3, 1 Corinthians 13:3. Paul's talking to Corinth, and he's putting things in perspective when it talks about either law or love and other components that we have on that road that we're going to this airport. I really like that a lot. I thought that was a toll gate, but I guess that was a kingdom at the end there. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity or have not love, depending on the rendition you have, it profiteth me nothing. Without love, without care, without this mercy that I talked about a few weeks ago, everything else is almost worthless, right? We understand that. That's not a new message. We understand that. So he goes on to say in verse 4, love suffereth long. With love, the love that Yahweh has put on us through Yeshua and the Spirit that's within us, sometimes in trials and tribulations, in difficulties and stresses, in the world, in the home, with your children, with jobs, within the congregation, maybe with even dealing with leadership and elders and such. Sometimes we suffer. We have to maybe bear something that has come upon us. We have to digest it. We have to accept it. We have to deal with it. Look within ourselves to see, does it apply for us and to us? Love is kind, kindness. Love envieth not. Love vaunteth not itself or lifteth itself up. It is not puffed up. It does not behave itself unseemly, inappropriately. You ever have someone talk to you and give you a comment, and it's kind of a left-handed comment, it's kind of got a negative side and a good side, and you say, that felt strange. You ever hear that? Feel that? It doesn't behave itself unseemly, seeketh not its own. It is not easily provoked to come out of that position of love and care and mercy. It's not easily provoked. That person is not easily provoked. It doesn't assume or doesn't think or it doesn't jump to evil thoughts. It rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Now this is amazing. This is amazing to me. I still reel at this verse 8 when it says, love never fails. When all else fails, when nothing else works, what did Keith say? Were you sitting, Keith? What? You say you're sorry early.
That's right.
Show the love early. Love never fails. And if the love fails, then there's a major, major problem, isn't there? When there's no love, there's a major problem. Love never fails. It doesn't say the law doesn't fail, the commandments don't fail. It says that love never fails. But where there be prophecies, which is very exciting, they shall fail. Where there be tongues, gifts, special miracles, dunamis working power, he says that's going to fail, that's going to stop, or may stop. They shall cease. Where there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. Love never fails. What is the main thing then? What is the basis of everything we're doing? What is the basis of Yahweh? What is the basis of his program? What is the basis of his calling? What is the sound of his voice? What is the inspiration of the word? What is the outreach to the public? What is the embrace to your friend, your brother? Love and care and comfort. Because those things heal. Those things encourage. Those things give peace that passes all understanding, along with the promises, along with the blessings, along with the things that he said. That embrace, that care, and that love that your neighbor, your brother, your sister shares to you, your wife, your husband, your children, that love that we show one another confirms everything that Yahweh says. And it confirms Yahweh because Yahweh is love. I would say that in my life, I can't speak for you, and I'm not going to try to, that I need more love in my life. I need to understand the profound power of love in my life. And some of the songs that we sing here, it just makes me weep that to think of what Yeshua did for me and did for you, and all of us being unworthy, not understanding the greatness of that sacrifice. Love is a thing. Love is so powerful. Love is so important. It's such a large character part of Yahweh and Yeshua that it says that even when people, in a way I'm paraphrasing, when they fall short, when they don't have complete knowledge or worship in completeness or rightness or spirit and truth, it says that love covers a multitude of sins. Wow, that's good stuff. That's powerful. This love stuff must really be important. You know that. And I hope that some way, in some small part, I can give another insight to that. Let's go to Matthew 5. Most of us know those things by heart. Let's go to Matthew 5. They're called the Beatitudes. But we're going to do something different. It says compare Scripture with Scripture, the Word with Word, Spirit with Spirit, spiritual things unto spiritual things. Right? Let's do that. How many times have we done that? We're going to compare the Beatitudes with, and you can put your finger there, with Galatians 5:22, the fruits of the Spirit. You can do that if you want to. All right, Beatitudes. This is the Master speaking. And of course, we've had many messages on this. There's 100 ways you can go with this material. You can't fail with good material. Blessed are the humble, for theirs is the kingdom of Yahweh, or the kingdom of heaven. Humility is part of love, isn't it? Verse 4, blessed are they that mourn, they shall be comforted. Have you ever looked across the assembly or seen someone walk in and you feel a heaviness in your heart that you can just tell their week has not gone well, that they need something here, they've come for something here, they've come for more than the Word, more than the Spirit, they have come to be embraced and healed and lifted up because they have just been trodden down and broken all week. Haven't you ever seen that? I know that you have, and I pray that we would have more discernment to see that in our brothers and sisters, and even those outside. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Do you think that what we read about love also encompasses meekness, that love is gentle and it's kind? There's a meekness in love, sincerity in love, and deep love of the heart. Spiritual love, not talking about carnal love. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they will be fulfilled. Well, how does that fit in? Because if we seek that love, we grow in that love, we're growing in Yahweh. He is growing in us. That indwelling that we promise to come, we will make our abode with you. That love is being manifest. We are growing. We can grow in spirit. We can grow in love. We can grow in truth. We can grow in knowledge and wisdom and understanding. But we've got to move forward on that highway we saw a couple of minutes ago in love. And I tell you the truth, and I lie not, that of a lot of things that we have given in this calling and this anointing and this highway, it's Satan that wants to take that away from us, because without love, without that mercy and compassion, we're going to inside be bruised, we're going to be empty, we're going to be hungry. We're going to be unfulfilled. We're not going to have peace. We're going to be, in a sense, we're going to have a sense of emptiness, because not every part that He has made in here is being fed by what it needs. You need love, compassion, mercy, and goodness every day, because the world and the enemy of this world and the things of this world want to take those things away from us. Then goes our peace, then goes our confidence, then there goes our joy, and now we're hanging on by faith in the Word and finding ourselves sometimes in a very miserable position. Miserable, because without peace, we come into stress, we feel rejected sometimes, we feel empty, we feel hurt. That spawns bitterness, unforgiveness, resentment, and now we're in turmoil. And then fear comes in. I'm not in the right place. I'm not right before Yahweh. I'm not right before my brother. I don't feel like going to the Sabbath meeting because I just feel so ugly inside. All of us need good things to help heal us, to comfort us. We need that comfort. I'm getting somewhere with this. Verse 7, blessed are the merciful. Everyone here needs mercy. We needed some mercy and some help on the project out there earlier this week. And I prayed, I have to apologize to George, because when we started out on Sunday and Monday, the heat was out there, the sun was out there, it was brutal, it was very hard, difficult work. So I prayed that it would be cloudy, that Yahweh would bring overcast skies, a cold front, couple of cold fronts. We got those cold fronts. James gave us a report of the cold fronts, but I didn't pray for all the rain, George. I owe you, I repent of that, so only half repent. We need mercy. Verse 8, blessed are the pure in heart. How are we going to be pure in heart if we don't have love? If we have everything else, we don't have love, we have nothing, so how are we going to be pure in heart? Because there's something, the major foundational element is missing. People who walk through this door, brand new, first time coming here, boy, I tell you, you know that if they don't feel love, if they don't feel acceptance, if they don't feel a gladness, a genuine gladness in the faces, and they see that in the faces of people who greet them, embrace them, shake their hand, smile, they're probably not going to come back. That's got to be in our hearts. It's got to be a natural thing. Women know all that stuff. They know all that stuff. You can tell the mood of a woman. You walk up, you see those pearlies, you see that smile and the eyes are sparkling. You know where she is. You know it's going to be okay. You ain't going to get slapped upside the head, Pete says. You know, you can read it in their countenance. The word countenance is used many times in the Scriptures. You can tell where someone is by looking at their face. Blessed are the pure in heart. Blessed are, here we go, peacemakers. He that has this love and mercy and compassion for someone else, he has to be, she has to be, and they will be a peacemaker. Love, peace, mercy, goodness, long-suffering, compassion is the outflow, is the result of a love and a heart that has that love and understands that love and wants to exude that love and show that love to others. Peacemakers. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Some people are not going to like you going around with a smile on your face all the time. Isn't it true? Have you ever met somebody that's just a Pollyanna? Everything is wonderful, and they're always, you know, praising and happy and everything. You know, got this rose-colored glasses on. I want to see those. We talk about them, but we don't see them very often. And sometimes when you're in a bad mood, the first impact that you get is, oh, she makes me sick. Or he makes me sick. This really irritates me. I'm feeling so lousy, and they're looking so good. But then if you back off from that attitude, what? That positive effect starts moving in, doesn't it? It starts moving in. That person made a positive impact into a need, part of your life, your heart, your mind, and emotions that you needed in that moment. And sometimes, unfortunately, we bristle when we come into that, someone that looks that way and has that. But they're giving. It's better to give than receive. They have given us something. How many times we walk away from someone who picked us up, lifted us up, and encourages us, and we walked away and we didn't think about the tremendous gift that we just got. And Yahweh did that. Right, Kathy? Yahweh did that. How much we have to be thankful for. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. I tell you the truth also that great will be your reward if you watch how you can encourage someone else by a smile, a kind word, an encouraging word. Because you just reached down into the depths of your brother and sister in no other way that you could have done it. When you see someone that's trod down, who looks down, they're staring at their shoelaces, folks, that's an opportunity to heal. I've heard so many people in the assembly say, if I could have a gift, I could have one gift, it would be healing. I feel so bad when I see people downtrodden, hurt, lame, sick, ill, deaf, blind. We can heal by the power of a smile and an encouraging word. Or we can hurt, or we can harm. Now, I said 7 minutes ago that we were going to compare these Beatitudes with something else. So let's go to Galatians 5:22. Remember, we read the love chapter 3 through 8, and then we did 3 through 8 or 9 here, 10 in the Beatitudes. Now look at Galatians 5:22. It's toward the back. But the fruit of the Spirit is love. We pray for righteousness, obedience, a spirit of obedience, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, judgment, leadership, for the leadership. When was the last time we prayed for more love? Father, give us, touch this assembly and everyone on the outreach, all of us, for we are all one. We are all in the same calling and condition. Father, give us more love and revelation of love and the discernment to see others who need more love in their life. So the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance, against which there is no law prohibiting those things. Now, unfortunately, this started out with the word that we're talking about is love. But if you just went to joy, peace, long-suffering, meekness, mildness, long-suffering, grace, all these kind of things, you could summarize it all back to the Shema. You could bring it all back down to that one word, couldn't you? Another thing that we have discussed among ourselves in secret, because it's a secret and you can't talk about something in the open that's a secret that everybody knows. I told you that about 6 months ago. You can't tell something in the open that's a secret that everybody knows. We need this love. And when this love also is not manifest to the level, whatever that is, I don't know what level that is. I'm not that smart. When that love is not manifested within the assembly, not within the home, not with the children, people do not feel welcome. They do not feel accepted. They do not feel comfortable. They don't feel like it's really their place to be. People don't come to an assembly just to worship Yahweh. Isn't it true? They come for fellowship. They come to hear testimonies and be encouraged in their faith, but they also come for love. Isn't that true? And a smile and a hug. And that's why we say here, let's not shake hands like former organizations. Let's hug. And we're saying what we're not saying, that this is really important, what people need, and we're trying to do what is important for them, and the message and what Yahweh is, we're trying to love. So there's a comparison here. There's a parallel here. There's an interwoven message here between Beatitudes, what is love, and what are the fruits. And I would say here that the fruit of the Spirit is, my goodness, this could be a typo, but the first one is love. Maybe it's a typo. Maybe it's a priority. We were talking about commandments and prioritizing, 1, 2, 3 through 10 the other day. So these things are important. And basically, I've summarized about everything I'm going to say, but I have to add a few other things. Let's go to Proverbs 6, 16 through 19, and talk about some things that are love and some things that are not love. And maybe there'll be some insights here and some spiritual growth. We pray for spiritual growth and emotional growth. Proverbs 6:16, everybody knows this is 7 or 8 things that Yahweh doesn't like. He even uses a really bad word here, H-A-T-E, right, Ed? These 6 things doth Yahweh hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. Not just he doesn't hate them, it's an abomination, which to me I think is worse. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood. You can shed blood by a word and by speaking without using a battle axe or a sword. You can wound. Well, everybody's heard that, being wounded by a word. A heart that devises wicked imaginations, feet that run swiftly to mischief, to do wickedness, unrighteousness, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among the brethren. Boy, that'll ruin a group. I'm not going to talk about gossiping. I'm not going to talk about speaking behind someone's back or slandering someone. What I'm talking about and specifically focusing on today is how we greet someone, how we look into those eyes and the depths. The windows are the eyes to the soul, the gates to the soul. How we greet someone, how we talk to someone face to face when we stand in their presence. That's exactly what I'm focusing on today. And you can take that 10 to the 10th power past that point in all kinds of relationships and avenues. But I want to keep this, where's Keith? I want to keep this simple. Keith. Examples in relationships. We're talking about relationships and how we greet each other, how we talk, and how we stand in someone's presence. We're talking about many relationships. Husband and wife, brother to brother, minister to minister, sister to sister. We're talking about all these combinations, us to our children and back and forth. We are gregarious people. We need one another. We like to be with one another, preferring, it says in the scriptures, one another. So this just fits right together how we're going to make our relationships, our assembly, and our families better. We are not to strive and to cause discord. Strife and discord is a work of the flesh. Would you agree with that? It's a work of the flesh. It can be a work of the enemy driving us. Proverbs 3:30. Proverbs 3:30. Strive not with a man without cause if he has done thee no harm. Don't do it. Philippians 2:3. Let nothing be done through strife. My voice is changing. Through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others, we've read this before, equal with ourselves? No, better than ourselves. To me, that's something I don't often think about. Esteem someone else better than myself. Not that I'm better than anyone else, but it doesn't register very often to think that way. And I think because we know that we have that indwelling, we know that Yeshua is in that other person, that when we greet and we touch and we stand in the countenance and the presence of that other person, and their whole being, conscious and unconscious, is looking at us, evaluating the expression on our face and what we are going to say, we don't want to say something to them that's going to either wound them or offend that one in them. Right? Don't smite the shepherd. 2 Timothy 2, 24-25. And a servant of Yahweh must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, in meekness instructing those who oppose themselves. We've never met anybody like that. If Yahweh, peradventure or perhaps, will give them repentance to acknowledging of the truth. Sometimes we strive to have the last word, to make a final point, to make sure the mote is taken out of our brother's eye while we stagger at the beam that's in our own eye, of course. Even jesting with each other, foolish joking about what someone wears or what they look or something silly that they did. And we tend to accept that because it tends to make us laugh, that kind of joking. Boy, those shoes look great, Ted. What'd you step in there? I tell you the truth again, the person may laugh, but when they go home, they think about what you said to them. What did they mean by that? That kind of had a two-edged sword to it, two sides of the coin. I'm not sure that was really a nice comment. We cannot convince someone else we are right by continually pushing an issue. We heard that earlier today. Pushing an issue, I think it was about an atheist, pushing an issue, when you can see their countenance changing, their jaw is tightening, they have that smile and that appreciation to be in your presence has gone, their countenance has changed, you can't go any farther than that. You've already done damage. We've already done damage when we do that. We can't convince anybody of the truth. We know that. We say that all the time, but wow, we sure try to do it anyway. Proverbs 22:8. He that soweth iniquity shall reap vanity, and the rod of his anger shall fail. I suggest that when we strive, we heard the word, I was taking count today, argue twice this morning. We're sowing iniquity. We're not lifting that person up. We're not helping that person. And if they had the wherewithal, the chutzpah, the position, the opportunity, they'd tell us that. Or they'd sure like to tell us that. But you know, one person can strive. Now here's a truism, but maybe you've never thought about this. One person can raise their voice, can be aggressive, can push a point, and everybody thinks that's just Frank's. I use Frank. There's no Franks here. No Franks. That's just Frank's personality. But if you respond to defend yourself, to make your point, to stand powerfully in the Scripture, because you know the Scripture too, guess what? You are the enemy. You're the one that caused the argument. You're the one that's at fault. Isn't it true? The first person can raise their voice and push, and that's just a characteristic of that person. You respond, and you're the one that's in the wrong. Isn't it true? That seems unfair. I sure like to defend myself sometimes. Carefully. What are the basics of strife and contention? Let's go to Proverbs 10:12. Proverbs 10:12, let's look at what Yahweh said about this. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covereth all sins. Hatred, disrespect, I'm going to add that. Unforgiveness, bitterness, some previous incident, something that someone said to you about someone. That sets the stage for strife. Proverbs 26:21. Proverbs 26:21. As coals are to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. Disrespect, not understand who we're talking to, and just not understand the situation is setting us up for responding or talking, communicating with someone that's not in a loving manner. It could be that we would be saying in another way that when we walk up to a brother or sister or anybody outside, even if it's little Mary at checkout counter number 3 at Walmart, think about, what can I say to them to make them feel good today? How large a tip do I need to leave that they are going to be so glad that this was their day of days? Okay? Inside joke. Proverbs 15:18. However, a wrathful man stirs up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeases strife. He appeases strife. He stops the strife. Let's go to some scriptures about that. Proverbs 16:28. Proverbs 16:28, if you're taking notes, a froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separates, listen to this, a whisperer separates chief good buddies, good friends. Can destroy a really intense, strong relationship. Proverbs 17:1. Better is a dry morsel and quietness therewith than a house full of sacrifices with strife. Proverbs 17:14, down on your page a little bit. Proverbs 17:14. The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water, therefore leaveth off contention before it be meddled with. Verse 19, 17, 19. He loveth transgression that loveth strife. He that loves transgression, that sounds like sin to me, kind of. That kind of has a touching and association with sin. He that loveth sin or transgression loveth strife, and he that exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. I'm going to say something that may not be accepted very well, and I hope right now on camera. I hope on camera right here, because we have 15 minutes left, that I'm wrong about this. I don't believe that most people, what I see as we approach the end times, take foolish joking, criticism, instruction, especially rebuke, just even correction very well these days. I don't see it. I don't see that very well. I hope my perspective of that is wrong. Contention. Proverbs 13:10. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. The well-advised person has wisdom. So there's a pride element when there's strife and contention. Proverbs 18:6, a fool's lips enters into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. When we strive, when there's contention, when there's maybe an argument, when we go too far in trying to discuss something, we are stroking one another. And we're not using the expression like we normally use it. I'm talking about stroke for stroke, hurt for hurt, harm for harm, wound for wound. Proverbs 25:8. Proverbs 25:8. Go not forth hastily to strive, lest thou know not what to do in the end thereof, after it's gone too far. That's how I perceive that. When thy neighbor hath put thee to shame. Sometimes we even misuse Scripture. I'm sure this will come up later, maybe. Sometimes we even misuse Scripture to justify what we're doing or what we are saying. Proverbs 27:17. Proverbs 27:17. We hear this all the time. Here it comes. Iron sharpens iron. We hear that all the time. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. That does not mean argue, strive, push to the nth degree to make your point, and go into Scripture so deep with so much conflict that it's like sparks coming off of two pieces of steel. That isn't what that means at all. The way we stand in front of someone else, and the countenance we have, and the way we greet them, and the way we try to show encouragement is something that directly affects the countenance of your friend. So it isn't sharpening, it's encouraging. It isn't cutting, it's lifting up. It's not bruising, but it's healing. The countenance. We know that a good countenance adds to the health, right? A good countenance adds to the health. In Galatians 5:22, we saw the fruits of the Spirit. In Ephesians 3:17, it says that Messiah may dwell in your hearts by faith, that ye, being rooted and grounded, there's the basis, there's the concrete there, George, there's the footer, grounded in love before it rains. Philippians 2:3, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem the other better than themselves. I think we said that, but maybe it's worth saying it again. Colossians 3:14, and above all things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. The wrath of man does not work the righteousness of Yahweh. I've got many more scriptures, but we're running toward the conclusion here. John 17:21. Yeshua prayed for us in these concepts. Yeshua prayed, John 17:21, that they all may be one as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they may also be one in us, that the world may know, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Because if Yahweh is in us and Yeshua is in us, His Spirit is manifesting, we're walking in the Spirit, Romans chapter 8, we're not going to fulfill the lust of the flesh. We're not going to get in the flesh. And that love, that comfort, and that peace is going to be magnified. It's going to come forward. That's what we're going to see and not the flesh. Can you tell when someone's in the flesh? We should be able to. We should be able to see when somebody makes that transition to the flesh. At that point, it's time to back off, change the subject, say an encouraging word, give them a hug. We need that discernment when that switch flips to the other side, when that coin turns over, when you see someone in the flesh, it's time to just back off. Or change, make a change. Pray, say, what do I need to do here, Yeshua, to bring peace to this relationship or this tete-a-tete? John, being, I think, one of the most spiritual apostles, said, and I know we've heard this a million times, I feel almost like, I'm preaching to the choir here, but it keeps coming back to me. He said, you'll know them by their love they have for one another. We are very wise, very acute, and very perceptive. We can tell the difference between something that is not warm and fuzzy and something that is warm and fuzzy, something that is good and something that's not quite as good, something that's comfortable and loving and encouraging and something that's not. Isn't it true? We don't have any trouble with that. We just deal with all the stuff on the other side. We just let it go. But some of us, ladies, go home and think about it. What'd she mean by that? What'd he mean by that? Don't assume that just because you got a funny response from somebody, that something you said that was cute and smart mouth, and they laughed, that you did something right. Isn't it true? And we'll lose that. Okay, I'm going to give you some practical application here, all right? I'm going to go too fast here because of the time we have, but I'm going to give you some negatives. I'm going to give you some practical, everyday, something you've heard, negatives that maybe you didn't feel was so negative, but you surely did not feel very good about what was said. You ready, Marty? I'm not picking on you. Okay, here's some negative statements. Oh, you're wrong. You ever hear that? I like it a lot. Okay, we got it, one vote down here. You don't understand. Now, that doesn't sound very bad, does it? But you just called someone. You didn't call them stupid, but you told them that they're not functioning at the same level you are because you're so smart. And you've got this encapsulated. You don't understand. Oh, I did not expect to see you here today. You do not listen very well. You don't listen very well. You don't understand what I'm saying to you. Now, these are things that are common language expressions that we use in English and we use all the time. But they're not good things. They're not positive things. Oh, that's not really true. Let me set you straight, brother. Let me correct you on that. Raising our voice. We can say things that are nice. We can say things that are neutral. We can be in a discussion and start raising our voice, not yelling, but raising our voice, and that is very irritating to a lot of people. It's irritating. It's intimidating. It's oppressive. And it's not comfortable. I'm not picking on anybody here. We're all in the same boat. Criticizing, having to have the last word. All put downs, arguing, forcing the point, we said that, trying to convince somebody of something that they don't want to hear, they don't believe, they have a blank spot, just don't even go there. You might as well just change the conversation. I'm not even going to go into other areas. I've just given you some negatives. Be careful now. I don't know where this is written. I'm just going to give this to you. Be careful when someone smiles at you with one lip and bites you with the other. Be careful when someone smiles, Pete, with one lip and bites you with the other. Or smiles with you with two lips and bites you with their teeth. Isn't that what they did to Stephen? They gnashed on him with their teeth, so to speak. All right? I'm going to give you some positives now. How wives and husbands, I'm going to speak in that capacity right now, but it applies to the assembly, it applies between elders, it applies between elders and brethren. Isn't it true that there's some issues that you can't talk about? Isn't it true there's some things you want to say to your mate, or say to your brother, or say to the elders, and you know that you can't? It won't be accepted. Sure got quiet. You know what you do? You let Yeshua tell them. You tell Yeshua, and Yeshua will tell them. We had, it's a great story, we had an apostle that worked in India, Rose, Arthur Rose, and he would travel with a man that knew Indian dialect, Urdu or one of the other dialects. And he came to a place, and this man was talking to him, and the apostle was talking, but the apostle was not talking to his interpreter. The interpreter didn't speak English. And they said, how do you communicate? And he says, I tell Yeshua, Yeshua tells him, and then he tells him what I want him to know in Urdu. That's a true story. Isn't that amazing? That's a true story. If you can't tell someone, but you want to tell them, you think they need to hear it, filter it, give it to Yeshua, and let him deal with that person. And he'll tell them in a way, if it's necessary to communicate, the way they can hear it. Let's do some good things. Here's some good things. Keep writing, Pete. Here's some good comments. I've got 18 or 19 of them, then we're going to go to a conclusion. I see what you mean. That tells that other person you're almost agreeing with him. You understand he's communicated beautifully, and you're on the same wavelength. That compliments that person. How simple that is. I see what you mean. Doesn't mean you really agree with them. We're not going that far. I agree with you. We can't always say that, but you can say that. If you do agree with someone, tell them you agree with them. That encourages them. That verifies them. There's another word for that. It verifies them. They've communicated. I appreciate you, or I appreciate that comment. Ted uses that, and I think George uses that quite a bit. Oh, I've heard it around a lot. I appreciate what you said. Boy, you look good today. That shirt, that dress, those shoes, you look good. Ted? Compliment, 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 compliment. Women, do you love it? Come on, let me see some hands. Do you love it, being complimented? Doesn't it make your day, you just feel good all over? Well, the men don't want to admit that, but it makes them feel good too. Smile. Smile. When someone walks into your presence, give them a smile. It welcomes them. It verifies them. It accepts them. It makes them feel good. They can see on your face that they are happy to see you. That's acceptance. Encourage someone by a kind word. Someone's talking to you about a problem, you come up with solutions, say, you can do it. I don't know if I can do it. Tell them you can do it. Encourage them. We are sure glad you're here today. I am glad to know you. I consider you my friend. Strong, powerful words. Thank you for the great help you gave me today. You are very talented. You're very smart. You did a good job on that. You're an encouragement to this assembly. You're an asset to this assembly. We depend on you. You hear that? You hear those good things? Wouldn't you like today, maybe by the time we finish our fellowship meal, somebody will have said all those things to you. Yahweh willing. Let's go to conclusion now. In Philippians, you know the verse, Philippians 4:8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good, a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. And I add to this, yes, I'm adding to the scripture, not just think on these things, say good things to someone else. Take those good things that we're thinking upon, the good things in the heart, and say them to someone else, and encourage. Encourage one another, love one another, in the wonderful name of Yeshua. Hallelujah.